It is the end of day 2 here at Rally Saudi Arabia. And I tell you what, we had the most dramatic action out in the stages. But David Evans, the drama continued at the time control into service.
Oh, Colin, it's an absolute heartbreaker, isn't it, for Adrian Foreman and Alex Correa? Checked in, from what we can see, checked into TC14A, the control here, checked in a minute early. They take a minute's penalty. They go from first place, fighting for their first ever WRC win, down to 4th, nowhere.
David, you talked just a few minutes before that to Adrian about the emotional roller coaster today.
Oh.
He was there, he was 20 seconds down, he was back in the lead. He's now sitting in the hospitality area and he's on the floor.
Oh,
figuratively, he's on the floor.
Well, they're both head in their hands in there.
How would you deal with that? How would you deal with that?
Of course you do deal with it, because you'll just pick yourself up, get back in the car tomorrow, and ultimately nobody can take away what he's done, what they've done on the stages here. They were leading the rally. They've been one of the absolute class acts of this event.
Yeah.
That's there. That's in the history books. It's done. They just need to get their heads down and crack on tomorrow. It is, as I said at the top, it's a heartbreaker, but it's not uncommon. Even at this absolute elite level of the sport, it can still happen.
Yeah. People make mistakes. Drivers make mistakes. Co-drivers make mistakes. Desperately, desperately heartbreaking for Adrian and Alex Correa. And to be honest with you, the Hyundai team, because what does that mean, David? You know, there are 2 drivers in the top 3. Adrian was leading. Martin Sesks now leads by a handful of seconds from Thierry Neuville.
Yeah.
You know, we still have the most remarkable battle. We were looking, would you believe, after what's apparently been an impossibly difficult rally, according to some drivers, we had 3 drivers going into the final day with 5.6 seconds between them. That's just unbelievable. We now have 2 with 3 seconds or so between them, David. We've got a great battle to look forward to. Sesks against Neuville, the absolute young upstart against the world champion. Oh, what a battle that's going to be.
It is, but and both of them, you know, we talked again to Thierry. Thierry was quite a long way back. He was 44 seconds down in 5th, 6th place. Kind of looked out of it. He was never totally down, Thierry. He's very pragmatic. He knew that there was still always that opportunity to come back. He knew it was only a puncture for everybody. Punctures galore this afternoon, and that has brought him right back into the fight. And it's tremendous. You know, he is the outgoing world champion. It would be a sensational story to see him bow out as world champion with a win, with his only win this season. But imagine the story for M Sport, the whole team. Martin Sesks is there. He's been there consistently. Everything that we said about Formo, we have to say about Martin Sesks.
This weekend, we have to say more. Formo's built up through the season towards this moment, and he's always looked like a winner.
Sesks has been out of the car for a long time.
But when he's been in the car, he hasn't looked anything like a winner.
No,
you know?
No, and he's come back and he's absolutely been on the money throughout the event. And the car, you know, all of this talk about M Sports Puma not being up to it, forget it.
Yeah.
Just take a look at some of the most difficult, technical, rocky roads that we'll see in the history of the championship. There's the car. Puma at the front. An emotional roller coaster.
Entertaining. In one word. In one word, entertaining. I didn't say good or bad, but entertaining.
What an incredible fight coming tomorrow. Are you confident?
Yeah. I think we've been doing great jobs since. So I'll just try to do the same, and Renner's do the same.
Is there any more pace in you or the car if you need it?
You know, there's always some pace, I think, but the hardest part so far has been about managing everything. So, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because you're then being safe, as I was on stage 14. You get the puncture, then you're risking it all, having 2 broken rims, but still going, and you win the stage. So, I don't know what's the best approach.
Tough one. I think everybody was going to his own limits and trying to go fast, but also try to avoid the big walks and somehow try to avoid the punctures. We know it was very much at risk. I got through more or less, a little puncture at the end of the last stage, but just before the finish. Not much to lose, to be honest, so I don't need to fight for any points, and finishing second or third is not what we are looking for, so we will go for it,
Takamoto Katsuta could win his first round.
He could. He absolutely could. Taka now sits in 3rd place after again, he's had punctures, he's had issues this weekend, but he's battled through them. He enjoys these types of rallies.
Yeah.
You know, he does well. He does have an ability to dig in and really dig results out, doesn't he? We see that in Safari each year. And yeah, I agree with you. From what we saw this afternoon, anything is possible tomorrow.
Totally.
And Taka-san will know that as he goes to bed tonight. You know, don't forget, David, that going into the afternoon, we had 4 drivers within 6 or 7 seconds of the lead. We had Sami Pyri there. We had Oyt Tanak there as well. Let's start with Tanak. Another difficult afternoon. Punctures. Well, Tanak, let's join them together. Tanak and Pyri. It was a puncture fest for the two of them.
It was, and we knew it was coming. You know, we've spoken to drivers, and some of the drivers actually used a really good analogy. These rocks are not rocks, they're like knives. And they are absolutely just slicing into. There's not really a tyre that can cope with a lot of these rocks and these places. But it's an absolute heartbreaker for Tanak. You know, it would have been a fantastic story to have him in the fight, going into the final day right now. You know, we don't know what's happening, what's in the future for Oyt Tanak. But it is for now. It's his last day in the World Rally Championship tomorrow. To have seen him going into a fight for another win this year would have been amazing. But even more, it would have been amazing for Sami Pyri. That's where it'll come. We said this to Sami. It will come. He's building that pace. He has driven fantastically. He doesn't deserve this. But there is an element of the lottery to a rally like this. And sadly, Sami put his number on black or red or whatever, and it's just come up the other way.
Obviously, it's a big disappointment. Like when we are for the first time really about to, we were really in the game to fight for the victory, and especially when you are looking for the first one, I guess it's quite you have some quite of some hunger for that. So, and okay, nothing was decided yet, but still we were so well in the game. So of course it's disappointing.
It's a ridiculous question, but was there any particular hit that you remember for the puncture?
Not really. I mean, there is so many hits that maybe sometime I was expecting puncture already, but there was not. And this one, like once we see from the screen the pressure, it went immediately to 0. So there was not a chance to drive it until the finish, for example. So that was quite quickly we decided what to do.
If you want to hear all of the interviews from that mad media zone that we had at the end of today, you can. How do they do it, David?
Straight to Club DirtFish.
Club DirtFish on Patreon. I'm going to have a look. There's lots more there, but there's certainly all those interviews from this evening. I'm not sure all of our drivers have found that correct approach this weekend, and I think it's easy to say, oh, it's a lottery, oh, it's, you know, it's this, it's that. There's, you know, it's too much, it's too rough, there are too many punctures.
I think there is, Cole. You know, when we've done our recce here, you come over some of those blind crests, you are listening to the notes, you're committed, there's a 3 right or something straight after there, you're coming over a blind crest, you're committed to the note, you've placed the car before the crest for the following corner, and those roads are so narrow, you get there and there's a rock in the middle of the road. There is nothing. That's the lottery element.
Well, no, for me,
you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, no, you can. You absolutely can.
But you can't, because you're committed. The speed is there. The inertia is there in the car.
But my point
the car's
is, David,
placed. You can't
that's
move.
European. That's European approach. That's Finland approach. That's you're committed. That's Estonian
then
approach.
what's the point of making pace notes? If you're then going to just slow yourself down.
Of course there's point in making pace notes, but you can slow yourself down. You can give yourself margin.
No, I'm sorry, Carl.
And there's not enough margin.
Totally disagree there.
There's not enough margin.
No, because if you make a pace note and then you question that pace note...
You're not questioning it.
Of course you are. If you're slowing down, what's the point of having a pace note?
The pace note describes the corner. It doesn't tell you how fast you should go into it.
Of course it does.
It describes the corner.
Of course it does. It
and
tells
you
you the
choose.
speed through that corner.
It describes the corner.
But then if you're backing off in every corner, go home.
I think sometimes you have to. I think you have to have margin. David, you have to have margin.
But Colin, if you've got margin everywhere, what's the point?
If you'd given yourself margin everywhere, avoided punctures, avoided suspension
Elvin Evans
damage,
given himself margin everywhere. What happened to him this afternoon?
Had punctures.
I'm right.
You're wrong. You've heard David's view. You've heard my view. We'd like to hear your view. Comments below. No, it's not about who's right, David. With you, it seems to always be about who's right.
Of course it is.
Well, do you know what? In all the drama in the stages, in the time controls this afternoon, David, we've almost forgotten about that championship battle. How could we forget? about the championship battle. Rovanperä, is he still there? We'd have to say with what's going on today, maybe, but very much still there is Elfyn Evans and Sébastien Ogier. Ogier is now in the box seat in terms of the points. But David, he came into the media zone at the end of the day today, and my goodness me, for a man who is on the verge of making history in terms of World Championship victories, he wasn't happy.
Equaling history.
No, making history.
9.
Yeah, I know, but it's making
9
history.
each.
9
He
in
wasn't
3 different
happy.
manufacturers.
Let's listen to what he had to say.
Seb, an incredible afternoon, but the positive now is championship is in your hands.
How you call it? The Russian roulette hand, maybe.
Just give us an insight into what it's been like this afternoon driving these roads.
I don't know. Just a shit show. What can you do? It's just like full of stone and just waiting every kilometer to be over.
And tomorrow,
So, Cole, we know Ogier's had 2 punctures today, but forget all of that. You know, that was a very emotive interview, but we have known Sébastien Ogier's opinion, views on coming to Saudi Arabia, this event being the final round from the start of the year.
Yep.
He's made no bones about it.
Yeah.
That's his view. He's entitled to his view. I find it just a wee bit maybe sad that he is 1 point ahead going into the final day. It's an absolute thriller. Yep, okay, he doesn't want to be here. But goodness me, 1 day left in the season and everything is still to play for.
Everything is still to play for. It's an interesting view, Ogier's view, and
Let's move on from that and let's just focus on 1 day to go, 3 stages, 60 kilometres to decide
To make
who is
history.
going to be our world
to
champion.
make history. Ogier to make history. You say you're quite right. He does equal Sébastien Loeb's remarkable record as a part-time driver.
Yeah.
No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
That will be the history. Doing it with 3 manufacturers, well, he's already done that. You know, we talk a lot about the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and for me, Ogier is right there. He is right there, and I would say, if we're only saying Ogier and Loeb, and I don't think we should put Sainz into that mix and others, Walter Roll and others. But I think if he wins tomorrow, no question for me, we put him down as the greatest driver we've ever had in this sport.
Absolutely. We've got to still consider Elfyn. Elfyn is right there. There's 1 point between them. So
Who looks like a world champion tonight?
I couldn't call it. I think you talked to them both, and Elfyn is naturally that bit kind of less confident.
Which
and
works for him sometimes, doesn't it?
certainly.
It might work for him tonight.
It
You know,
brings
that's
less expectation
less,
of himself.
yeah, less pressure.
But just to put the maths around this, if Sébastien Ogier takes the full 10 points, of course he is champion. If Elfyn Evans if Elfyn has the perfect Saturday,
perfect
he's
final
world
day.
champion.
The
But
point
how
system
amazing is that, though?
It is amazing. It's
Isn't it?
amazing that it's very likely to go down to the power
Power
stage.
stage. Imagine that.
biggest day of your career, maybe tomorrow. Tell us, what's the approach?
I think we have to be all in. With the points so close, then there's no other option.
Is it difficult? I mean, your pace has been there, but do you now have to find another step, and how difficult is that?
Yeah, of course, there's a car between us on the road, which won't help with so much mileage first pass as well. It is what it is. After just being there and give it what we can and see what comes at the end.
And the stages tomorrow, what about those?
Quite mixed, quite different. In fact, the power stage is very technical, a lot of jumps, quite man-made. The other one is more out in the desert, very fast. Let's see.
How confident can you be?
Probably not very confident, but that doesn't mean I won't try.
Absolutely not. How are you going to sleep tonight?
Hopefully fine.
Wow, so what a day we've had, and as David has rightly said, what a final day we have to look forward to tomorrow. It has been an absolute cracker. 3 more stages to go here, folks. It's almost bedtime.
I think we need to go and have a lie down.
Well, you and I need to go. I was going to say go and have a little sit down, a little drink, and a discussion about who's right about pace.
Have an arm wrestle.
Shall we? Shall we see this inside it now? A draw. It's a draw. We can't wait for the final day of the season, folks. Join us tomorrow for the finale of the 2025 WRC Drivers' Championship.